Before we start, a short disclaimer. As you can see, how many machines there are which I need to prepare for this video. It's a lot. So a big shout out to all the YouTubers, content creators who do this regularly, do testings, do map tours, do mod reviews and so on. It takes a lot of time and it's a lot of work, and I want you all to know this and that you appreciate the guys who do this, especially those who do it on console. For me, setting up this setup here and of course preparing the new map took me 4 hours 10 minutes to prepare everything. So you see, it's a lot of work. So big shout out to everybody who does this to give us great content here on YouTube, farming simulator related. And now let's go to the video. Hello and good morning. My name is John Barley and welcome to this look at the new Horsch DLC for farming simulator, and how the Horsch equipment, which is now standard in-game, does fare compared to other stuff we have standard in-game in the standard in-game or available as a mod. So let's just take a look how all this new stuff does compared to other equipment. We have here our nice field which is harvested. It was a sorghum field, and the first step we need to do after harvest is of course mulching. For mulching I picked some pieces of equipment, especially with regards to mulchers. I really like the Horsch DLC because they are bringing bigger stuff into the game. If we take a short look in the menu, so far we only had very small mulchers. We need them for the vineyard work, of course, but everything which is for standard stubble removal in fields, you have a 3 meter here, 5.6, 5.8, 6, but that's it. That is everything we had so far in the game, and now we have a 8.9 meter and a 12.2 meter in the game standard, which is quite nice. And of course we have the mods we will take a look at. So let's just start with this wonderful Horsch Cultural 9TC. Let's look at the unfold animation. Very nice mulcher. It has a working width of 8.9 meters and costs 35,000 euros. This brings us to a price performance ratio. If we divide the euros, the costs divided by the working width of 9, so 35,000 euros divided by 8.9, we come up at 3,932, which is quite a good value. We will see this later on. And as you can see here, it mulches quite perfectly as it should do. So we let this one running continuous, and we will continue with the next one, which is the Lizard Katrina. This is a mod by Miotto modding. I particularly choose this one because it's 9 meter wide, and so it fares very similar to the one which we just saw. Here it is, and the messy. Let's unfold it. This Lizard Katrina is 9 meters wide and only costs 25,000 euros. So price performance wise, this is the best one we have here, with 2,777 euros per meter working width. And also compared to in relation to these three, it's requiring the lowest horsepower. It only requires a 180 horsepower tractor, so very low horsepower requirement on this one. And there you go. And as you see, it cultivates as it should. And last, we have this beautiful machine here. This is the Seppi S9. It's a front and a back part. It comes as part of a pack by BlackEyes modding. As you see, this is one which we turn on to work, but it should activate the worker, right? It works just like the other ones as well. Mulches the ground very perfectly. This one has a working width of 9 meters as well. We can also see we can attach other pieces of equipment to it, but these two units combined cost 8,000 for the front and 43,000 for the rear motor, so we are talking about 51,000 euros for this 9 meter setup, which is a 5,666 euros per meter, and we need a 250 horsepower tractor for this. Yes, you are blocked by an object. So let's just get this one out of the way. Okay, he's mulching over there, no problem. But yeah, so these are these ones. So the Katrina is the best one for these in this 9 meter range. Horsch finishes at second place and the Seppi at third. Now let's move over to the bigger pieces of equipment. We have here the Horsch Cultural 12 TC, which is a 12.2 meter cultivator. Let's just look how it unfolds. And it costs 78,000 euros, so we're looking at 6,393 euros per meter of working width, and you need a 270 horsepower tractor to run it. Just lower it down and off it goes. Very nice. Does the job at 12.2 meters. What we have as an alternative, as I said before, this is now standard in-game with the DLC. This is a mod which comes as part of the Suprema pack by Universe Simu Modding. Show it in the mod hub here. It's here the Suprema pack. It contains these two cultivators, a seed tender, a slurry tender, and some cultivators. Cultivators, and this is a field roller. So lots of stuff in the pack, but we are talking about these two here. With these two units combined, we have a 10 meter mulcher, and as you can see, it mulches at 10 meter, but you also need a 320 horsepower tractor to run this mulcher, so the horsepower requirement for this one is much higher than for the Horsch. And if you have only a lower horsepower tractor, even though this setup here only costs about 30,000 to buy, it probably would make more sense to go for the Horsch one. So the Horsch one, just compared to the price, is more expensive than this one. Yes, it is. But if you consider the costs of buying a new higher horsepower tractor, maybe it is worth checking out this unit. So I will now continue the mulching of this field, and when that's done, after the mulching, we will do the cultivating. So see you in a second with the cultivators of the HORSCH DLC. Okay, let's continue with cultivators. We compare the cultivator in the 6 meter range, which is the Horsch Final 6SL, which we have here, the Lemken Smaragd 9-500K, which is here, and which is a little bit out of the competition, is this one. This is the Köckerling All-Rounder 600. Why is this out of the competition? You see, basically, it's a total different design from these two units which we have here, but I put it out because so far it was the only 6 meter cultivator we had in the game. So this is a 6 meter cultivator, 51,000 to buy, and requires a 250 horsepower tractor. So big tractor requirement, 6 meters and 51,000 euros, quite expensive, which ends up at 8,500 euros per meter of cultivator width, but it works very as it should. You lower it down and off you go, cultivating your field, no problem at all. So now let's compare these two, which are really comparable, the Lemken and the new Horsch Finer 6SL. Let's see it in full. The Finer 6SL is 25,000 euros for a 6 meter cultivator, and the Lemken is 24,500 euros for a 5 meter cultivator. So does it make sense to add the 500 euros? Absolutely. If you divide the 25,000 euros for the Horsch with 6 meters, you end up at 4,166 euros per meter, and the Lemken at 4,900 euros per meter. The only advantage the Lemken has, it only requires a 180 horsepower tractor, whereas the Finer requires a 220 horsepower tractor. But let's just send off the Lemken. Let's just take a look at it in action. So lower it down, and off you go. As you see, this is a deep cultivator. It does the curculing we had here before. It's not a deep cultivator, it's a shallow cultivator. This would bring up stones, but I have steel field stones turned off for this test. But the Horsch Finer SL has a very nice trick up its sleeve. If we go here into the menu and look at the Finer SL for 25,000 euros, as you can see, it's also saying it's a there. The text says it's a cultivator, but you can add for only 4,000 euros a seeding unit. Let's just take back the design to one. So this is the normal price, 25,000 euros, but for 29,000 euros you get a 6 meter seeder unit, which gives you the ability to cultivate and seed at the same time. This one also a shallow cultivator, won't bring up big stones, but you can see the different ground texture of its cultivating. So yeah, from in this range of width, Horsch Finer SL, great piece of equipment, great price performance ratio, absolutely worth buying it. So now let's continue with the bigger cultivators. So here we have the Horsch Tiger 8MT cultivator. This costs 78,000 euros and is a 5.7 meter cultivator. Next to that we have the Köckerling Vector 800, which is a 8 meter cultivator and is 68,500 to buy. And next to that we have the Kuhn Prolander 7,500, which is a 7.5 meter cultivator, and it's 59,500 to buy. The Köckerling you will find here. So it says Köckerling Vector 750-80. This is because, if you don't know this, you can select it as a 750, which is 5.7 meter, or as the 800, which is an 8 meter, and then we are at the 68,500 euros, which this unit costs, and it needs 320 horsepower to run it. This is the one which is in the middle, so second place. I start with this one, 8,561 euros per meter. So let's get it going. Deep cultivator off we go. The Kuhn Prolander 7500, it's way cheaper, 59,500 euros for a 7.5 meter, whereas this is 78,000 for the same width, and you require a 400 horsepower tractor. But the advantage of the Horsch one, if we get it unfold here, is that you can add a fertilizer unit. So if you want, you can add a fertilizer unit to it and run a front seed tank with it, and then you can cultivate and fertilize at the same time. If you now consider that a fertilizer spreader costs something around 20,000 euros as well, this is absolutely worth it. But for the pure sole numbers of, okay, admittingly it's more expensive than this one here, which we will now also send off. So from a pure price perspective, this one is the best, but it's only a shallow cultivator. As you can see, the other one are deep cultivators. But yeah, if you just consider the money, this one is the one to go for. So now we've covered the cultivators. Let's continue with the disc harrows. Okay, now let's talk about the disc harrows. In the HORSCH DLC, this wonderful piece of equipment is included, which is the Horsch Joker 8RT. It's 82,000 euros to buy and has a 8.2 meter working width, so 10,000 euros per meter, and requires 330 horsepower to pull it. Next to that, we have the Kinsey Machtel 261, 72,500 euros to buy, 8 meter working width, so only 9,062 euros per meter, so a decent amount cheaper than the Horsch one, but it requires 390 horsepower to pull it, so a very high horsepower requirement. Let's just lower it down and get it going. A shallow cultivator, and off we go. And right next to that we have this one here, which is the K-Line PowerFlex 95. It's standard in game. If you ask yourself now where, I can show you. It's under disc harrows, and it's this. You say, but you're saying no, it's this case speed tiller. But if you don't know, you can switch between the K-Line PowerFlex 95 and the case IH speed tiller 465, and the same also applies for the bigger one. You can do the same as well. I didn't know that, now I know it. And this one, the case or the K-Line, is 86,000 to buy and has 9.5 meters of working width, so more working width, and it's on 9,052 euros to buy. So between this and the Kinsey, it's a very fine line. In total it's about 8,000 euros price difference, but basically they are the performance between price and working width is more or less the same. Only difference is this one only requires a 360 horsepower tractor to pull it, and this 345 I think it is, or 355 case class does it very good as well. So I just need to stop the New Holland because it's getting in my way now. So let's just talk about the very expensive Horsch Joker 8RT. Why I think it's still a very cool piece of equipment, if we unfold it, is that it has another nice trick up its sleeve. Just let finish the unfolding our animation. Very nice. If you look at Horsch, Joker 8RG, there it is, 8.2. As you can see in the bottom right corner, it says seed, grass and oilseed radish. So you can have it as a sowing unit for an additional 8,000 euros, or as a slurry distributor also for an additional 8,000 euros, or you can even have both for 16,000 euros. So basically what you can do with this unit is, if you pull it behind a slurry tank, you can cultivate and fertilize at the same time. At the same time, which is quite a nice addition, if you ask me. Let's just bypass this one. So yeah, in total, it's a very expensive piece of equipment, but has a nice trick up its sleeve, which makes it quite a nice piece of equipment. And it has only a 330 horsepower requirement. So if you compare it to the 390 of the Kinsey, okay, the item itself is 10,000 euros more, but if you think about it, what would be the additional cost of a tractor which has 60 horsepower more? So the price difference between a 330 horsepower tractor and a 390 horsepower tractor is probably much higher than the price difference between the Horsch and the Kinsey. So if you ask me, very nice piece of equipment, very cool that we have it in the game now, and yeah, it's a cool piece of kit. So we will now, as you see in the background, the John Deere is cultivating the other part of the field. I will continue cultivating this part of the field now, and when we have done the cultivating, next step will be seeding and planting. So see you in a second. Okay, seeders, just look at this impressive array of equipment which we have over here, and the HORSCH DLC is present with 4 pieces of equipment in the seeder category. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4 pieces of equipment. So let's just start with these ones here, the ones which go on the 3-point link of your tractor and use a seed tank in front. So starting off with, we have the the Q FT front tank. There's a number, FT 1512 front tank, and the rear unit is the 6040 RS5 and the BTFR 36300. This unit complete comes at 18,000 for the front tank and 67,500 for the rear unit, which is a para harrow and a seeder, and it has 6 meter working width, and it requires 300 horsepower to run. So a very high horsepower requirement to run this unit, but it looks very nice. Hoses connect completely, but the 300 horsepower requirement always was one reason why I had issues so far using this in the game, and I'm very happy that we have this HORSCH unit right now. So this is the HORSCH front tank partner 1600 FT, and the rear unit is the HORSCH Tower 6SL. The front tank is 19,500 and the rear unit is 50,000 euros. So combined it's only 69,500 euros for a 6 meter seeder, whereas the other unit was 85,000, so 15,000 euros more. And while let's just watch the unfold animation, and more 100 horsepower more is required for the Q version. So this one only requires 200 horsepower, whereas the one which we are just passing requires 300 horsepower, a 300 horsepower tractor. So I'm really happy that this piece of equipment is in the game now, and when it comes to the 6-meter seeders, it is quite a cool piece of equipment, and I'm very, very happy that we have it in the game. Moving on with the 3-meter equipment, we have this Väderstad Spirit R300S. This is a mod by Giant Software. It was standard in-game in FS19, I think, and now we have the new Horsch Pronto 3DC. Both 3 meters. The Väderstad only requires 110 horsepower to pull it, so this small Zeta can do it, and it's 3 meters for 48,000 euros. Very nice. Whereas the Horsch one requires 170 horsepower and no, 150. So I'm sorry, the Väderstad requires 110 horsepower and the Horsch 150 horsepower, and it's 65,000 to buy. So compared between these two, the Horsch one is a little bit more expensive than the Väderstad one. Both are direct drills, so yeah, admittingly here the Horsch one has a little backdrop, but nevertheless cool piece of equipment, very nice machinery, and maybe you are just tired of using the Väderstad because it was basically part of FS19, so now there is a new piece of equipment in the game which is ready to use. So now let's move on to the the larger seeders with the bigger working width. And it's these 3 units all at 6 meter. We have the Pöttinger Terrasem 6CF, we have the Horsch Pronto 6DC, and we have the Kuhn S-Pro 6000 RC. All of these are direct drills. All of these have seed tanks in it, which I only put I mean, they have seed and fertilizer tanks. I only put seed in it. All are direct drills. The Pöttinger requires 210 horsepower, the Horsch 200, and the Kuhn 270, so very high horsepower requirement. And this unit cashes in at 120,500 euros, so rather expensive. We are talking about 20,038 euros per meter of working width, and it has a high horsepower requirement for the tractor. So this, out of these 3, this only finishes in 3rd place. The 2nd place is for the new Horsch. While we just watch it unfold, this comes in at 119,500 euros for 6 meters, so only a little bit 1,000 euros less than the Q, but you will probably ask yourself, oh no, it's not 119,000, it's less. Here it is, it says 106,000. Yes, it says 106,000 there, but if you add the rich markers, if you I think row control not, but the packer unit in front is, and if you add the large tanks, seed and fertilizer, seed 2,400, fertilizer 300, to be competitive to the other 2 units, we are at 119,300. Oh, not competitive, comparable to the other 2 units. We will end up at 119,500 euros, so 19,916 euros per meter of working width. But very nice, very comparable to the one we just passed, but still unique piece of equipment, very nice. The only one which can beat it is this one over here, which is the Pöttinger Terrasam. This is only 109,500 euros, 6 meter working width, direct drill, does all the same things, just like the other tools, has ridge markers on it, so this is just a cheaper version, 10,000 euros cheaper, and does exactly the same thing. So this one finishes first. Nevertheless, I like the the Horsch machine a lot. And one thing which I realized when I filled these with seed is the Horsch doesn't open its seed tank when it's folded. The Pöttinger does, but the Horsch doesn't. So this is also a minor disadvantage when you think about it, when you want to fill from auger wagons or something like that. So this does it also when the thing is when the thing is folded up, and the Horsch only does it when it's folded. Yeah, but this is the 6 meter range. Now let's move on to the big boys. And it's these 3 units here. We have the Lemken Solitaire 12. We have the new Horsch Avatar 12.22 SD. And here we have the Väderstad Rapid A800S. Why is this one out? Because these 2 units both have 12 meter working width. This one only has 8 meters. Why is it out? For one reason, which is the fact that it's a direct drill. It doesn't have a seed tank. It does have a seed tank, but no fertilizer tank. But it's a direct drill. That's the big advantage. That's the only thing why we compare it to the other 2 pieces of equipment in this. This is the the direct drill aspect of this piece of equipment makes it comparable to the Horsch, because the Lemken is not a direct drill, and this piece with 8 meter working width is the next comparable size to the Horsch with 12 meter working width. So that's why this is here as well. It's 195,500 euros only for an 8 meter, and it's in the price ratio one of the most expensive one. It cashes in at 19,933 euros per meter. The Horsch, which we have here, let's just see it unfold, is 195,000 euros. Yes, much more than the Väderstad, but it has 12 meters. It's a direct drill. It has a seed tank, so it's only 16,250 euros per meter of working width. Yes, it's more expensive in total, but you get much more for it, and that's why I think this is a very nice piece of equipment. Oh yeah, what I wanted to say, just proving my arguments with facts. If we go into our seeders, you will see here, that's the Väderstad Rapid A800S, and then the next is a Solitaire, and we have the next bigger one with 50 meter, the Amazon, and now we have this Horsch one, standard in game, with 12 meters. So there's basically nothing in between it. The Horsch one just fits in here very nicely with his 195,000 euros between these 2, but as you can see, the Lemken is not a direct drill, where the Horsch one is, which makes it a very cool, nice piece of equipment, and very useful indeed. So let's just take a short look at the Lemken. The Lemken still has its right to be in the game. 12 meters, it's a very right. It's only a seeder, so it doesn't have a fertilizer tank, whereas the Horsch does. And as mentioned before, not a direct drill, but also a very low horsepower requirement. As you can see, I have the older John Deere here, which only has 190 horsepower, has no struggle to pull it, whereas I need a 300 horsepower tractor over there to pull the Horsch. But still, cool piece of equipment, very good, and out of these three which you compared here, the best one when it comes to pure price performance ratio, but with all the extras you gain from the Horsch one, I think the Horsch one is the better option. So that's it for seeders. Now let's move on to the planters. Alright, now let's just talk about the planters, which are wrote up over here. We have two categories, the wider category is 12 meter and the narrower category with 6 meter of working width. And in this category the Horsch equipment does not fare that particularly well as it does in the others. So to start with, we have here the Lemken Azerit 9 with the front tank, the Solitaire 23. Admittedly, the front tank only does fertilizer, so you have a very small seed tank in the Azerit of only 600 liters. But the seeder unit is 63,500 to buy, and the front tank is 8,000 to buy. So in total we are looking at 71,000 euros for this unit we have here. Only requires a 150 horsepower tractor, and it's 6 meters wide, which makes 11,916 euros per meter of working width. Next to that we have this here. This is a Mount by Giant software. This is the Väderstad Tempo V8. It consists out of a front seed tank, as you can see, which carries 1,600 liters of seed. The bottom, if you look at the bottom right, now it's 560, now it's 2,760. One thing I wanted to try out is if this seed tank fits to the Horsch seeder. So here we have the Horsch Maestro 9.7 RT. It's equipped with a fertilizer unit, so you can run it with a fertilizer spreader, and it also has the ridge markers on it. But as you can see, now it's 630 liters of seed, and now it's 2,230. So the front tank carries this. But what you can do is have the 630 liters of seed in the back of that seeder and run a front fertilizer unit with it. So let's just see if this connects up. Yes, it does. It does connect to the Väderstad seed tank, and it hooks up. The pipe connects very nice indeed. I just wanted to try this out, if these are interchangeable, but so they are. But now let's just talk how they fare in comparison. The Väderstad Tempo V8, also 6 meter working width, also 150 horsepower required, and the front seed tank costs 9,000 euros, and the unit for the seeding unit for 64,000 euros. So in total you're looking at 73,000 euros for this unit, and that makes 12,166 euros per meter. Why I did just interchange the front seating, you will see right now. As you see, it's working just fine, seeding as it should. Because now, talking about the Horsch, The Horsch Cedar unit with 67,000 euros is not that much more expensive, but the front tank is. The front tank cashes in at 19,800 euros. So this complete setup is 78,000 euros to buy. It requires 170 horsepower, so 20 horsepower more, which I think is neglectable. It also has only 6 meters of working width, and so this setup cashes in at 12,985 euros per meter. So overall, it is the most expensive of the bunch we have here. But nevertheless, nice piece of equipment, nice, very nicely to use, and it runs as it should. So now let's continue with the bigger ones. Okay then, now let's continue with the planters and the 12 meter working width range. So here at the back of the New Holland we have the Horsch Maestro 24.5 SV. As I said, 12 meter working width. Needs a 350 horsepower tractor to run it, and cashes in at 208,000 euros. It has some cool options like these twin narrows tires at the back, but admittingly this is a very pricey unit. As you can see, it has a seed tank and a fertilizer tank on it, but this does the next one in the competition as well. So unfortunately this new Horsch finishes last in this comparison. But still very cool piece of equipment. So let's move on to the second place, which is this one, the Väderstad Tempo L16. Also 12 meter working width, also a seed and fertilizer tank, only requires 300 horsepower to run it, so not 350 like the Horsch one, and it only cashes it. Oops, it only costs 160,000 to buy, so not 208,000 to buy. So you can see already way cheaper than the Horsch one, and basically does the same job. And now to the by far winner of this competition, which is this, the Kinsey 3665 Blue Drive. It only has a seed tank, admittingly, but it's a direct drill, which is a very nice advantage of this machine over the other two units, and it also requires only 300 horsepower to pull it, but it's only 139,500 to buy, so by far cheaper than the other two units. Yes, no seed tank, but the missing seed tank is rectified by the direct drill capability of this unit. So for me, this one wins this competition. Now let's continue with the seeding here, or the planting here, and then let some weeds grow, because we still have the weeders to look at. See you in a second. Okay, we are into the next day. The fields have germinated and we have weeds. So right now here are the weeders. We will start with the bigger units. Here we have the Horsch Cura 24 ST 24.5 meters of working width, 85,000 to buy, but only requires a 200 horsepower tractor. The unfolding animation looks like this. I say only requires a 200 horsepower tractor because the next best competitor unit is right next to it, which is the Bourgault XR 7700-90, a mod by Giant Software. It was part of the Bourgault DLC from FS19, but you can have it as a mod for FS22. And as you can see here, the weeder removes the weeds as it should do. It only removes the small weeds, like weeders normally do, because this part of the field, which was seeded earlier than the planting of the corn next to it, we only have some medium weeds growing in here, but the unit works just fine as it should. Continuing here with the mentioned Bourgault weeder, it is 27.4 meters wide, costs only 64,000 euros, but as mentioned requires a 350 horsepower tractor to pull it. This makes it 2,335 euros per meter, whereas the Horsch cashes in at 3,469 euros per meter. But as you can see, both do a equally good job. Let's just take a short look at the map. As you can see, the smaller weeds have been removed by both units and only the larger, darker green weeds remained. So, moving on to the smaller weeders in the pack. So, here we have the smaller range, the 12 meter weeder range. We have here the Einberg Pneumatic Star Pro 12,000, 12 meter working width, 41,000 to buy, 170 horsepower required. And here we have the Treffler TS 1520-M3, 45,000 euros to buy, 15.2 meter, 150 horsepower required. So as you can see, these two are in the range of lower than 50,000 euros, and as you can see, the weeds get removed by the Treffler. As well as by the Einberg, and the Einberg also has a seeding possibility, which both make these very good pieces of equipment. The Einberg is 3,416 euros per meter of working with, and the Treffler is 2,960, so very less. And now here we have the Horsch Transformer 12 VF. Let's watch it unfold. 95,000 euros and also 12 meter working with, just like the Einberg. So basically more than double the price, and it also requires a high horsepower tractor with 250 horsepower. So admittingly, yes, this unit is much more expensive, and I mean, it has this cool option that the weeder will stay in the line of the rows, and I think in real life this is really a added benefit to this weeder, absolutely. But in the game it only looks cool, and you can buy two of the Treffler with 15.2 meters for the price of one of this 12 meter weeder. So admittedly, yes, it's a cool piece of equipment. It has a cool feature, and probably the price, I have no idea what the price for this unit is in real life, but I assume it's accurate. But the accuracy part of this is, yeah, makes it very expensive, and in game not so good in pure price comparison, because every other reader does the same job, but actually it's such a cool piece of equipment. I mean, you have here the cameras which detect the lines so that this unit adjusts to the rows of the crop. This makes sense why it is that expensive, and it's a cool piece, absolutely. But I said it already twice in the game. Hard to justify to buy this one if you can have two of the others for not the same price, but even less than the price of this one. Okay, that's every piece of equipment reviewed. Now let's just do the conclusion. See you in a second. Okay, so what's the conclusion of the Horsch AgroVation DLC? I think there is a lot of pretty good machinery in it. I mean, if you take the mulchers, the only alternative we have are mods. For the size and the price to be compatible, you can only go with mods. The disc Harrow, where is it? Very cool, very unique piece of equipment with the ability to add the fertilizer, the slurry and the seed distributor. For its own, very pricey compared to others, but with these options, cool piece of equipment. Cultivators also with the seeding units make them a unique piece of equipment. The seeders are quite good. They tend to fit really well in the game, especially this one over here, the Horsch Taro 6SL. Very cool piece of equipment, very reasonable priced, low horsepower requirement compared to the other one which we had in game so far. Very nice. The planters, they are in the top price range, yes, but still very cool pieces of equipment, as well as the weeders, especially this one over here, but nevertheless they do fit in the game quite well to fill in the gaps of the sizes we didn't have so far in the game. So that's my conclusion for this. If you're wondering what's that over there, these are all the tractors which were used in the making of this video, and I didn't know which one I put on which implement, so that's why I just stored them over here, and I will now all return them because they are all leased. Oh yeah, coming back to what I said at the beginning of this video, my little disclaimer, I'm now at 7 hours 51, so it was at 4 hours 10 minutes when I started, so over 3.5 hours. It took me over 3.5 hours to do this video, so just to give you an impression how much work this is. And so pay respect to all the mod reviewers, all the content creators out there who do the stuff for you that you like to watch. So thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment, leave a like, or even to subscribe. Don't drive when you're drunk, and until next time, bye bye.